Good morning. Happy Sunday morning. I've never really caught you guys on a Sunday before, but like I said in my chat last week that just due to track practice and all that stuff that I would have to move my live chats to Sundays. Next Sunday, however, just be forewarned, I'll try to do my live chat on Friday night because Saturday we have our Bronco Invitational at Rancho Bernardo High School, and then Sunday is my dude's 40th birthday. So, Missy, what's up? So I won't be able to do the Sunday live chat, so no Saturday or Sunday next week. But I'll try to catch you guys Friday night. So it's just like a little bit of a weird schedule during track season just because we have a lot going on. So yeah, and we have Wally joining us. So yeah, how's everybody's Sunday going? Hey Wally, I think he's just trying to get comfortable. Wally, do you want to say hi to the YouTuberverse? Hello, good morning. Yeah, good morning. Yeah. Hey, it's New Age Lunatic. Wally says hi. And Sherry Bug's here. Hey. So, had a bit of an interesting week. So you guys could probably tell that in the title, the ambulance ride. So yeah, I guess I'll just kind of jump right into that. Missy said, good, just cleaned the cat litter and now resting. So I'm glad. Hopefully everybody else is having a nice chillax Sunday. After I get off the live chat today, which will be rather short, we have to go run our errands because it's Sunday, and Sunday is errands day. We got to go to Costco. We do all like our grocery shopping for the week. Jeff's here. What up, Jeff? Oh, Jeff, by the way, I promoted your channel on my newsletter. So my, it's like my monthly blast that I have for all my peeps. So I told everybody to go check out Tattooed Spirit. So, so yeah, Sherry Bug said she baked a blueberry pie and made a batch of guacamole. Okay, so what's your address? I'm coming over. You're welcome, Jeff. So yeah, let's see. Well, let's jump right into the story. Okay, so we have to go to Thursday. Okay, so Thursday I'm at school, and it's like the beginning of fifth period. New Age Lunatic says, you're looking very unicorn today with the gray colored stripes. Yeah, there we go. I've been feeling rather unicorn lately. Oh, you know, I just, I backed the Unicorn Tarot by Pamela Chen. And so I think mine's set to arrive, I think, well, in August or something. I don't know. It was like she had run out of like the first batch of copies. So I think the next batch is coming out in August. So that'll be nice. Like right before the school year, I guess, would start again. But I probably won't be doing the school. I don't know. So that'll be like right at a transitional time next year or this year, August. I don't know. Brain's not working right. And that kind of ties in with my story. New Age Lunatic said she's trying to resist that. I couldn't resist it. Like as soon as I heard there was going to be a Unicorn Tarot, I signed up for her newsletter and I signed up for like all the updates. I was like, I need to have a Unicorn Tarot. I know that I've slowed down on my buying and, things like that. But, because I'm in the middle of like money saving mode. But I was like, that I need to back. Okay, so Thursday, here we go, story time. Thursday, 11:30 a.m., that's when fifth period starts. My students are having a pretty chill week. Michelle says she backed it too, like for sure. Because my seniors are doing their research papers, so they're just mostly doing research during class. And so Thursday and Friday I was supposed to be like helping them like one-on-one, like calling kids over to my desk and okay, where are you in your research paper? Oh, you just started. Okay, well this is due on Tuesday next week, so let's like get the ball rolling. So I was like trying to help each of them kind of like get through their like mental blocks and and move forward. And I was doing, pretty good with that. But I needed to start off the class with some announcements and, hey, this is what we're going to do in class today. And my heart started skipping. So I need to preface this with that's nothing new. Laughter in the Woods said, glad to be able to catch you live again. Yay! Laughter in the Woods, I haven't seen you in quite some time. Hope everything's well. And okay, so this whole heart skippy thing, back when I turned 19, like I joined the track team at Long Beach State, like I said before, I was an NC2A athlete. Something weird started happening around then. Like every time I did the 100, I was a 100-meter runner and I was a long jumper. Every time I did the 100 and the gun would go off or we'd blast out of the blocks, for practice, my heart would do this like whoomp, like it would feel like somebody kind of like punched you in the chest a little bit, like a skip. And I was like, ugh, and it would be like really hard to breathe the whole 100 meters. And I told my coach, hey, something's a little funky. I can't breathe. And he's like, oh, maybe you have asthma. And I said, oh, it's not asthma. So I put he would tell me to put my hands on top of my head and breathe in my, through my chest. And then he's like, well, maybe you should go see a doctor. So I went to the doctors and I had to do the whole referral, get a cardiologist. And they set me up with, what's the thing called? It's like, well, back then it was a box about this big and it had the little like nodes, you stick to your chest so they could monitor your heart's rhythm. And there was a big like record button. They said anytime I felt that skip to press record. And I said, well, it doesn't happen very often, but most of the time if it does happen, it's when I'm doing the 100, which is like Holter monitor. Thank you, Sherry Bug. Yes, it's a Holter monitor. And so they said, just put it on your belt when you exercise. And I was like, number one, I don't wear a belt when I exercise. And here I got this and this is back in 2001. So this is like 17, 18 years ago. And the box was like this big and it weighed a few pounds. And I'm like, how am I supposed to exercise with this? Because they're like, go about your daily routine. And so they didn't really catch anything because I couldn't really make it happen. And so they kind of reviewed the data. They're like, you're fine. You're 19, you're a track athlete. So you probably have a pretty strong heart. So you're fine. Okay. So then 2000, Missy says she's done that before because hers does that every so often, but they couldn't find anything. Yeah. It's really frustrating. So then, this is like 2004, 2005, when I was getting my, 2004, because I was getting my teaching credential then. It was a really stressful time. I was working a few different jobs at the time, plus, I had some psychotic roommates, and and all of a sudden I start having that skippy thing again. I am sorry, it's just here, what's up? And so I go back to the doctor and they're like, oh, looks like you're back in again. And so this time, now that it's 2004, 2005, the Holter monitor now looks like an iPod because iPods had kind of just come out. So, okay, that's a lot better to have on my belt when I work out. Missy says anxiety. That's what they said it was. They said it could be anxiety, because at the same time I did have, I was diagnosed in college with mild depression and anxiety, but then I was in full remission after college because I think that's, whatever, just being under the pressures of college. And so they couldn't find anything again. And they said, again, by this time I'm 21, 22 years old, you're healthy as an ox, you're an NC2A athlete, go home. Okay. It just feels really weird, so it would do this once in a blue moon, maybe a few times a year since then. So it's not really been a problem. It'll last maybe 30 seconds. It's not a big deal. I would kind of feel it when I'd work out. And, if I do feel it when I work out, I'm like, oh, okay. So I would just go lay down on the ab mats until my heart can calm down. And that's why I like to have, watches that have a heart monitor connected to it because I can see what my heart's doing. So if I'm working out and let's say that my heart rate or my heart beats at around, I don't know, if I'm weightlifting about, 140, 150, if I'm really cranking out some weightlifting, when it starts skipping, it goes to 219, 220, sometimes above 220. It's really fluttering and I can feel it when, I check my, my pulse up here. And sometimes my wrist too. And so I'm like, that's weird, so I would chill out. Well, lately, starting in December, remember when I talked to you guys about that whole thing with the kid, his parents trying to get his grade changed for no good reason, from a B to an A. And that may still be going on, but I just haven't heard anything in a while. Well, then my heart started skipping more often, like once a day. But this time it's like lasting like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of like not being able to breathe, feeling like somebody's like punching you in the chest over and over. And I'd feel like this weight on my chest. And then that would start to bring on some anxiety, like what's going on? Because now it's like affecting workouts, but then it's happening when I'm doing dishes, and it's happening like sometimes when I'm just chilling in the classroom during my prep period, like grading papers. I'm like, what's going on? But just trying to like power through it. And in the back of my mind, I was like, maybe I should make an appointment with the doctor and get it checked out again. But then I'm thinking back to when I was younger, and I was like, well, they probably won't find anything. No big deal. Okay, so flash forward to Thursday. So I start teaching that 5th period. I feel that, whoa, but this time it's like I really can't breathe. It feels like somebody's really taken the wind out of me, the wind out of my sails, and I'm trying to power through my announcements to them, and then I'm like sweating bullets, and I'm like back at my desk, and I'm trying to call kids over one by one, and I'm trying to tell them about their paper, but now my words aren't I'm having trouble getting my words out to the students, and I'm trying to recall, like I can't make words come to my mind, but I'm trying really hard to help them, and I'm like, what is going on? Something is funky. So then I think maybe I'm just hungry because lunch is right after this period, and maybe I just need to eat. And so the period ends. I'm like, thank God. I'm eating my lunch, and it's still happening. Like it's still been doing this for over an hour now, where it feels like a whoomp, you know, and it feels like you have to cough like that, you know, feeling. And so then I have my lunch. It's still happening, and I'm like kind of worried now. Then 6th period begins. This is my last period of the day, and I only have 7 students in my class. It's an English language learner support class. So I'm just supposed to help them kind of with their other classes. It's almost like a tutorial, but with a lot more linguistics in it. So the period's going to start soon, and I'm like, something is really wrong, and I'm contemplating if I should call the school nurse. I was like, because I don't know if I'm going to make it through this period. Plus, we had our orange and white track meet that day, like supposed to be after school, where it's an inter-squad meet where we get to get the kids like times and jumps and heights so that we can put it in for the Bronco Invitational, which is next Saturday. And I'm like, man, I have so much to do today. I don't have time to be having a heart attack right now or whatever the heck my heart is doing. So then I'm like, I think I should call the school nurse. So I call the school nurse, and the nurse is on vacation, and she has a substitute nurse because our nurse apparently, her son is having heart surgery, so she won't be back till after spring break, so that she can care for her. I think he's like 21. And so the substitute nurse doesn't really know what to do. And so I call her, I said, this is a really odd request. This is, you know, teacher down in room 102, and I am having issues with my heart, and I was just wondering if you could come down and just check it real quick so that I could continue teaching. She's like, okay. She's like, are you feeling faint? I was like, yes. I was like, I'm trying to keep myself together right now, and it's pretty difficult. And she's like, okay, do you have anxiety issues? No. Do you have asthma? No. She's like, have you fainted already today? No. And she's like, okay, let me figure out what to do. And I'm like, okay. So then a campus supervisor shows up, and we're just looking at each other, and I'm like, hey. And he's like, hey. And I'm like, he says, the nurse is coming down soon. I'm like, okay. I said, I guess I should grab my keys. He's like, yeah. And then the nurse showed up, and she's like, oh my God. She's like freaking out. I like, don't freak out, okay? And she says, you're a little pale, and she says, let me hold on to you. And so she like dramatically grabs me. I'm like, I'm not gonna fall over. And then I said, can we get out of eye shot and earshot of my students, because the door's open, and I'd rather not like do this in front of the kids. And she's like, okay. And so we move around the corner, and I'm like, I'm fine. But then all of a sudden my legs don't want to work so well. Like I am actually feeling I was like, oh, okay, so maybe this is a little bit more serious. We get on the elevator, and there's like a campus one of our vice principals is on the elevator already to come with me. And there's somebody else, but it's kind of blurry, so I don't really remember who else was on the elevator with me. We get up, and the substitute nurse is lost. She doesn't know how to get to the nurse's office, but I was with a campus supervisor, so we all know how to get to the nurse's office. So when the campus supervisor like kind of hugs me, he says, we're gonna hug it out, we're gonna like walk over there so you don't fall over. He's all, hugs, not drugs. And I'm like, okay. I said, I'm pretty sure I could walk all by myself. He's like, yeah, well, if you fall on your face, then it's my fault, so we're gonna hug it out, or we're gonna walk over there. And I'm like, okay. Wow, interesting. My phone just corrected its volume all by itself. That's neat. Anyway, so then we make it to the nurse's office, and the nurse is having trouble using the equipment. All she can really use is the blood pressure machine, and she's noticing that my blood pressure is through the roof. And normally I have really low blood pressure. It's like 100 over something, but it was like 160, 170. And that's really, really high for me, and that's high for, I think, a lot of people. And so then, but then my blood pressure would drop, and then it was back up, and then it would drop, and it was getting really inaccurate readings. She had trouble taking my vitals because my hands are always really cold. So, you know, when they put that little clamp on your finger, it's hard to kind of get my vitals unless I'm warmed up. So then they had to go to get a blanket and warm me up because I'm always a cold person, hence why I'm wearing a sweater, and it's probably like 70 degrees outside. And so then all these people come into the nurse's office, and I'm embarrassed as it is, because I don't like tons of attention and everybody staring at me, and I don't like feeling like I'm in a weakened state. You know, I don't like being in that position. It's very vulnerable. So now I have two VPs in the room with me. I have the campus facilities manager is in there with me. I have two campus like patrol people. Then I have the counseling department, because they were right next door. The counseling department is now all in the door. Allie's here. What's up? Just tell a little story. And so then the nurse says, I think the best course of action is to call 911, because she says, I don't like your breathing pattern, because how I was breathing was, I'd be like, you know, because that's what it felt like. It felt like a whomp to the chest, so I'm breathing funky. And so then I was a little nervous, and I was like, I think we should call 911. Then one of the VPs is like, we're going to get your stuff from your room. Where's your stuff? And I'm telling them where all my stuff is, you know, where my purse and everything is. And I was like, oh, don't forget to get some snacks from the refrigerator, because I need to eat. Like every 2.5 hours, I get really hungry. I have a really fast metabolism. And so they go, and I guess they go get my stuff. And then the VP has my cell phone, and she says, we're gonna call she goes, is it your husband, your fiance, your boyfriend? I was like, it's my boyfriend. And she says, okay. She says, it's not taking my finger code. I'm like, that's because it's my phone. I will give you my passcode. And she's like, okay. And I understand people are probably like all freaked out because they have a teacher that's like kind of, I guess, freaking them out laying down on a bed. And so then she's like, what's his last name? What's he under in your address book? And I said, the dude. She says, okay, I want to call your dude. What's he under? He's actually under the dude. Yeah, it's a Big Lebowski reference. Like, he's the dude, just call the dude. She's like, oh, okay. And I was like, his name's Brian, you know. And so she calls and you know, and says that, you know, which hospital we're going to be going to. And the paramedics, you know, show up, and, you know, they say that, you know, my blood pressure is doing some odd things. Right away, they started hooking me up to their heart monitor, and they said, we can see what's going on. It's 4 beats and a skip, 4 beats and a skip, and it seems to be pretty continuous. And so we get into the ambulance, and they're having a hard time getting a hold of my hospital, because my hospital is not getting back to them whether or not they have room. So we're just chilling out in the parking lot for like 15 minutes because we can't go anywhere because the hospital is having trouble calling us back. So I'm just like talking to them, and I'd be fine, and then all of a sudden it would start skipping, and then it'd be fine. But I could see it on the monitor, and it was very interesting because it was like a beep, 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 whoop, beep, 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 whoop. And I could feel it in my chest. I was like, ugh, you know, and they were like, you know, have you had a lot of coffee today? I was like, I don't take in caffeine. I don't even drink soda. I said, because caffeine upsets my stomach. I said, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink caffeine, like of anything. And I said, the most powerful teas I make are green tea. I was like, otherwise I make herbal teas. And I was like, you know, I take supplements, and I told them what supplements I take, you know, like fish oil and glucosamine and multivitamin. I was like, you know, I work out almost every day. I do cardio, I do weightlifting. I tell them that I eat a pretty healthy diet. If I do eat candy, it's, you know, on a weekend, and it's mostly like dark chocolate or, I don't know, a little treat from one of our favorite places. I was like, but I'm not a huge, like, I'm a pretty healthy person, you know, and they're like, are you under a lot of stress? I'm like, not currently. I mean, I was stressed out. I was like, but I don't know why this would still be happening. And so they're like, well, at least we have this printout in case it stops by the time we, like, not your heart, but the episode stops by the time we get to the hospital. So I said, okay. So they did, it was interesting because the paramedics were really young, and they're graduates from our school district. You know, one's from Grossmont High School, the other one was from Granite Hills High School, and one was graduate of 2011, one was a graduate of 2009. These were really young guys, and I was like, oh my God, like I probably could have taught you guys. So I just thought that was interesting. And yeah, so I you know, they're trying to keep my mind off of things. So they were like, oh, so like, what do you teach? And, you know, do you like teaching? Do you like coaching? You know, who was your best student? Who was your worst student? You know, did you know my principal from this school? And, you know, things like that. And so, you know, they did a good job with that. And then we started talking about cars and all of that. And so they finally get me to the ER, and we had to wait a little while before the ER people could hook me up to their monitors and see what's going on with my heart. So then, by then, a few minutes had passed, or actually no, 15 minutes had passed, and then my heart thing had stopped. And then they hooked me up to their monitors, and they're like, we don't see anything. She seems really healthy. And the paramedics are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They said, you know, here's our printouts. This is what her heart was doing. And the hospital said, it's, you know, that's awesome that we can see that on your chart, but we need to be able to see that on our monitors. Otherwise, we can't diagnose her. We can't help her. So we need her heart to do what it was doing with you on our monitors. Otherwise, we can't use your printouts as evidence. And they're like, well, we tried, you know. So they're like, we're at least going to leave our printouts with you, with the hospital. And they're like, okay, you know, but they can't really use them. And so then they ordered a round of blood tests, and they blood tested me for like everything, like thyroid and you know, like diabetes, like everything. And after being in the hospital from, when did we get there? Like we got there at like 1:30, and then I left the hospital at like 8:30. So we were there for quite some time waiting for lab results to come back. I had to do a chest x-ray. They're like, well, you don't have an enlarged heart. Your heart looks fine in the x-ray. Your blood work came back. Like, you're like tip-top shape. Your electrolytes are fine. They said, so, I mean, you could probably go ahead and go back to work tomorrow, but if it happens while you're teaching, probably just lay down on the ground so you don't pass out. And I'm like, you want me to lay down in my classroom in the middle of teaching? And they're like, yeah, it's better than passing out. And I was like, And they're like, but we don't know how else to help you because we're just the emergency room. Like, you know, you need to go see your primary care doctor. So they said, we've sent a call to them. So expect a call from the like secretary or whatever of your primary care doctor, so you can set up an appointment next week, or as soon as possible, so you can meet with him. And then we're also setting a referral to the cardiologist, so they can maybe do like an imaging of your heart, plus again setting me up with another Holter monitor. Jeff says he's going to follow up on my story this evening. Wi-Fi is officially fluttered out. All right, Jeff, I will catch you later then. Thank you for sticking around for my weird story. So that's where I am now, and my see ya. So then that that evening, like, word had spread amongst the English department. Like, one teacher told my department chair, who told the team lead, you know, and so I'm getting all these calls on my cell phone while I'm at the hospital, but I didn't decide to call anybody back till I got home and I got some food in my stomach and everything. And so everybody was really worried, and they're like, we heard you left the school in an ambulance, like, what's going on? And, you know, I told them, I said, everything's fine, you know, and just having a little bit of a heart issue, and that's what we're trying to figure out right now. And so my department chair was like, she says, you know, there was one of the other English teachers told me that you had left in an ambulance, and the first thing she said was, I bet you it was that one family. I bet you they are causing so much stress on her that her freaking heart's giving out. And my department chair is like, she says, when did this start? And I was like, right around the same time as that whole fiasco. And she was like, that's very interesting, but you know what, you don't worry about that, that's for me to worry about. I'm gonna go work on that right now, and you, she says, rest. You know, I know the doctor said to come to school tomorrow, but don't come to school tomorrow. She says, you have been traumatized enough by being in the ER, leaving in an ambulance. You probably need a day off. She goes, it's Friday. Like, just extend the due date for that exit task with your students. Extend it to Wednesday, and then that way you have Monday and Tuesday to help them, you know, if that would make you feel better. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. And she was like, you probably want to send that text out to your students. Like, we have a safe texting system through an app called Remind, where you can text all your students like it's a message, and it goes out to everybody that signed up to it, and nobody knows each other's phone numbers. Like, I just know them by their name, and I don't have their cell phone number, and they don't have my cell phone number. Like, if they try to call the number back, it goes to like New Jersey or something. So anyway, so I send a Remind text out to my students, and my department chair says, you know, you can be honest, tell them that you were in the hospital, but that you're fine now, and that you just won't be at school tomorrow, and that you will see them on Monday. So I was like, okay. So I sent that, and of course then texts start flooding in from my students, and I know that, like, the rumor mill is probably going on with them, but I try to, like, put them all at ease. I'm like, I'm fine, you know, everything's gonna be great. You guys can have fantastic essays, you know, and you guys are all, you know, fantastic, and I'm thinking of all of you while I'm not at school. I don't know, since then it's been kind of weird. I thought that maybe because the whole thing was stressful, that I've been forgetting things, like odd things. Like yesterday, I forgot how to roll the window down in my boyfriend's car. Like, he had folded his side mirror in to get into the garage, and I'm looking, and I was like, oh, your side mirror. And he says, okay, we'll roll the window down and pop it back out. And I was like, and I'm looking at the two buttons. One's the lock button, one's the window roll down. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to roll the window down. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I went to send a text message to somebody yesterday, and I forgot how to use the apps on my phone. Like, I forgot how to send a text message briefly, but it's like, I think maybe I was stressed out from the event, and maybe my brain's just having a hard time with things sometimes. I don't know. So I don't know if that's connected to anything, but I just thought that was odd. So yeah, so that's why it's been kind of radio silence. I didn't do a YouTube video on Friday, and I didn't do one yesterday. I ended up not doing some of the things with the track team, obviously, because it's just kind of been, you know, my boyfriend's like, you need to stay home, you need to rest. And so we haven't done much, you know. Yesterday or Friday, it was a lot of just kind of sleeping, and I've been so tired. So Friday I slept like the whole day. I slept a good portion of the day yesterday. I feel finally like alert and, you know, pretty good today. Pretty sure my brain's functioning again, hopefully, because I have to go back and teach tomorrow. But yeah, so that's my story, you guys. That's the stuff that's been going on. Allie says she's glad I'm okay. Hope that doesn't happen again. Yes, thank you. I fingers crossed. Well, actually, I'm hoping that if it does happen again, it's when I have that Holter monitor, and I just want the doctors to catch it finally, because this has been something from when I was 19, but it being as worse or as bad as it is now, I just like, just tell me what it is so I know how to work with it, because they said there really isn't. What they think it might be is SVT, which is supraventricular tachycardia, which is like a misfire in the bottom of the heart chamber. So so instead of, like, you know, stuff opening up and going out to the ventricles, like you know, it's like a pump out, pump out. It's like going a pump around. So stuff's not really pumping out like it should, and things aren't closing as they should. And they said this kind of sounds like my symptoms, but they can't diagnose me. Only the cardiologist or my primary care doctor can diagnose me. So, and they said it's not like there's medication for it. They said it's mostly you have to shock your system. So they said you could press on your carotid artery and stop blood flow for a second to like get yourself like the heart like corrected. They said you could try coughing, which is what I do naturally when I try to get it back into place, is what I call it. They said you could try bearing down. You could try what was the other one? Pressing on your eyeball, anything to shock your system, you know, and shock your heart into like starting over. They said if it's really extreme, they have some sort of surgery, which I am not about surgery, where they send a little stent thing like up your leg and into your heart, and they basically electrocute the heart. The part that's misfiring, they like electrocute it and shut it down. So yes, those are the vagal maneuvers. Yes, that's what they are. Okay, so sorry, I've missed a couple of people's comments. Sherrybug said when your heart doesn't pump correctly, it causes a lack of oxygen to the brain and the body, so your brain could have a bit of recovering to do. Yeah, that's what my boyfriend said he saw. He was kind of joking around though, but he was like, when you don't get the oxygen to the brain malfunction. I was like, yes, I know. And I could tell he was a little bit worried, you know, because when we went to the hospital, he had that kind of like freaked out, and when I got home, he was taking care of me. He was half joking, but he was like, don't you die on me. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm living to be like 112. Missy says anxiety does weird things too when you have a lot of it. I forget random things too, but hopefully everything turns out good. Yeah, you know, and I know that there was obviously a lot of anxiety around that event. After in the Woods says, please get yourself checked out and keep pressing your doctor to find the cause. Yes. That's, yeah, now I'm like on a mission to like, I need to get this figured out. And this time around, now that I'm going to be 37, I do have a good primary care doctor, and he is somebody that I trust. I don't go to the doctors often because I never get sick. So I haven't seen him in quite some time, but I know he's a good guy. Simon's here. What's up? Now called the Hermit's Cave. I like the new name. So yeah. Yeah, Dr. Guest, he's a really, really good doctor. So, I'm not really sick. I'm just, I had a little bit of a heart episode. And so I'm now on a mission to go figure out what that heart episode was that, you know, caused some, anxiety at school. New Age Lunatic said she had the exact same thing, and this triggered anxiety, which made things a heck of a lot worse. I know, like, I could feel an anxiety attack coming on. I was like, oh God, I don't need this too, while my heart's skipping around. She said she felt crazy at times. Her heart wouldn't act up when it had monitors on. My department chair said the same thing happened to her sister, where she would have like an episode, but it wouldn't be when the doctors would, you know, have their monitors on. Missy says, at least you're brave to go to the docs. She'd stay away from the white coat syndrome. Sean said he had to wear a monitor for a week. That's what they're going to try. They're going to try a whole week, you know, because hopefully within that week they catch something, since it is happening more often. Yes, Simon, working in education is rather stressful. Yeah, it's, I'm like, Miss, this is probably a sign. What was interesting was that day when I was at school, yeah, me too. I hope everything gets sorted out. I had a little heart-shaped opalite stone with me that day that I took to school on Thursday, which I thought was interesting. And then my boyfriend joked, he's like, well, then that stone obviously doesn't work. And I was like, or the stone does work, and it made me, I have a feeling that this was all for something, you know, because I'd been kind of hesitating to go to the doctor. I'm like, oh, I know I need to get stuff checked out. And I know that there's things that I have been ignoring, which are not really related to my heart, but I think are causing the anxiety or the stress related to it. And I think this was just like okay, well, you're not listening. We're going to send you in an ambulance and you are going to have to deal with this. So I know that everything kind of happens for a reason, so that's what I'm thinking. New Age Lunatic said she had monitors on and had to take her blood pressure 3 times a day. She was offered medication, and that was, no, I am not doing medication. Simon said Opalite is wonderful. Yes, so I had Opalite for like the past few days, and then last night I finally changed it to Bronzite. So I kind of felt like I'd moved away from my Opalite, needing it since Thursday, and and I do need Wally. I always need my Wally. He was the one I was thinking of when I was at the ER. But yeah, I need my Bronzite. Yeah. Grun Oile says nothing like subconscious to kick you in that arse. Yes. And I do need that grounding energy. So that day that I came home from the ER, I pulled a card from my Love Your Inner Goddess, because this has been my daily card pull for like a month now. And this was today's card, which was Magdalene. Ayami said, Wally love. Thank you. Once they start you on drugs, oh, hey, Wally. It's hard to get off of them in some circumstances. Ganesha helped me loads. Yeah. I know a lot of those medications can have, especially if they're like opiate based, they're really addictive. And ironically, my students right now, they're finishing that research paper, which is a fitness research paper, but the one that all the students were interested in was the connection between fitness and medicine, like how the fitness industry might be connected to the pharmaceutical industry, and like all those connections, the whole like conspiracy theory stuff is what my kids are interested in. So anyway, Wally thinks you're tall enough to be a tree. Yes, he does. So the card I pulled Thursday, let's see if I can find it in here just to show you guys, because when I saw it I was like, and I've been getting so many, well, I'll tell you guys the signs in just a moment, or signs, messages, that's what they are. Hey Puma. Wally, you my little healer. He's been my little nurse. Aha, here it is. Sorry, I missed somebody's message. Sherrybug says, well, if it's risk versus benefit with meds, some things require med intervention. Yeah, that's something that I was like talking with my students too. There are some things that people have that require medication. I mean, you can supplement, more natural methods along with your medications. Some people can, there are some, ailments that people have that, you can substitute with more natural method. But yeah, unfortunately, I know that there are some things that you just need medication for. Like some people have chemical imbalances, and in order to balance out certain things, they need medication for it. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Some people need heart medication in order for their hearts to beat correctly, and I'm just hoping that's not me. So anyway, that day I came home from the hospital, I pulled Lion-Hearted. Like, wow. That was, yeah, I was like, I have no words. And I didn't even think it was like the definition that's in the book in there. Wally, you are on my hair. And I was like, okay. And then today in my inbox, my email, I get a newsletter from Michelle Black. She's a creator of really awesome Oracle deck. And my brain just went out. I can't remember the name of her Oracle deck, but if you look up Michelle Black, you'll find out her Oracle. Hey, Wally. And LOL cards just freak me out when they do stuff like that. For real. So then the very first part of her newsletter had a picture of a heart, and it said heart work. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, we're gonna have to work on my heart metaphorically and physically. Like, I know there's some stuff going on. And then on, what was it? Friday I was watering my yard, and I just wanted to kind of be out in my yard. I wanted to talk to my plants and see how everything was doing. And it just seemed like my yard was more alive than usual. And it seemed like my yard was like everything in my yard and going around me in the sky and everything. It was like, it felt like it was talking to me, but I just couldn't figure out what it was trying to say. But it felt really good. That's all it did. It's just here. It felt good. It felt like the universe wasn't trying to, punish me. It's like, we're trying to send you a message and we're just hoping that you get it. We're not trying to be mean or anything. And that's kind of how I feel it always is, that, it's not like this bad luck or anything coming down on me, striking me down or being mean. It's just like, hey, this is the only way we figure out how to get you to do what you need to do. And if we have to go to extreme measures like this, like, we have to. So I'm out there watering the yard, and I have hummingbirds like following me. There's birds everywhere. There was a red-tailed hawk flying overhead, which everywhere I go now, there's red-tailed hawks like following me everywhere, which I've talked about before. And so it was circling overhead. And then I was watering some of my flowers, and a bee came and landed on my hand. At first I was like, ah, but it looked like it was just chilling, but I kind of flicked it off. I was like, I don't need to get stung by a bee, but I don't think the bee was trying to sting me. It was just kind of landing and hanging out. Let's see, there was some new buds on my roses that I hadn't noticed before, and one of my roses literally just kind of like flung its branch out in front of me, in front of like our little walkway on the side of the house. And so there's this beautiful, what's going to be a reddish orange yellow, it looks like fire, one of some of my favorite roses, and it has some brand new buds, and it's just about to bloom, but it hasn't quite bloomed yet. It's still wound tight, but it's the greenery around it has opened. And so it was like my roses were talking to me, and it was like so much bird energy in the spring. Yes. And it just seemed like everything was so alive, the rustling in the trees. And I'm like, I get it, or I don't get it, but I know that you guys are trying to talk to me, but I feel all the energy. And so everything I've been doing, from pulling my tarot cards and oracle cards has had the word heart in it. And actually, oddly, while I was at school on Thursday, during my lunch break while I'm eating, and there's no students in the classroom, I had my Delos tarot with me, and I decided to pull a card, but more like a health issue card. Like, every card has like a part of the body or a health issue related to a card in the tarot. And so I pulled a card, and I pulled the strength card, which in health is related to the torso. So it's your lungs, your spine, and your heart. And I was like, whoa, because I was like contemplating, like, I hope this goes away. I hope this doesn't last till 6th period, and so I'm like, what is going on? And as a health issue, I pulled the heart card, and I'm like, uh-oh. And so then I pull another card, like, what is my best course of action? And I pull the 3 of Wands, which I see as like, you need to call a doctor. You need to call in some help, like, right now. And I'm like, so then that was in my mind, and then that's kind of also what led me to calling the nurse on the beginning of 6th period. Laughter in the Woods says, so sorry to have to go, but I look forward to seeing the rest of your live stream later. Please take good care of yourself. Thank you, Laughter in the Woods. I will catch you later then. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sean says, that's what I call a card slap to the face. Yes. Wally's getting petted right now. So that's kind of all of it's been going on. Yesterday, while we were out and about, we were leaving Costco, and we had just picked up a couple of things. It wasn't like our whole grocery run that we do. I had a book with me in the car. It was my brand new Nature Speak book by Ted Andrews, because I'm pretty much gonna just own the entire Ted Andrews like library. And so I was looking about like numbers and repetition in nature, and I looked at, as I'm looking in the book and I'm reading about the number 5. Yes, on your recommendation, New Age Lunatic, that is why I got it. And I love it, by the way, so thank you for the rec. I'm looking at, okay, I'm gonna actually pull that up for you guys. Where was numbers? Ah, here it is. Okay, so I'm literally on this page, the meaning of numbers in nature, when I was sitting in the car because my boyfriend was driving, and I'm reading about the number 5, or my eyes had just gotten down to the number 5, and it says time of change and movement, lots of activity is at hand and will require versatility. Make your moves but do not become scattered. And as you guys know, I am planning on making that leap, you know, very shortly. Near future, by the end of the year, of, you know, going full time with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. And I have a lot of faith in that. And I had even gotten a reading from Ethany. If you guys, you know, follow Ethany, definitely go check out her channel. But I was called to get a reading, like a career reading from her. And the time frame that I had been pulling up was the exact time frame that she pulled up. She says, yeah, there's going to be some sort of like job transition. She says December, January. I was like, oh, and a lot of things that she, you know, said in the reading are things that I was getting in my readings, and I just kind of needed that confirmation. But yeah, Ethany is great. Yeah, excellent. So yeah, lots of change is afoot. So I'm looking at the number 5. I look up and there's an address right in front of us, 5555. I literally look over, and you know how it has the sign like how many tons a truck can, you know, like the big trucks that can drive through the neighborhoods. It says no truck over 5 tons allowed. And I'm like, and then it's like, and then I look over, there's like speed limit 25, and then I'm looking and there's like some other addresses 2525, and like, but it was like literally all at once, like within a 15-second time span, I was surrounded by 5s, like just everywhere. And I happened to be looking at 5, and I was like, okay, whoa, 5s, okay, all right, groovy. So yeah, so it seems like I've just been getting so many messages lately. It's been pretty freaking awesome. Sherrybug said, make sure that you have this sorted out before you don't have your insurance from the school. Definitely, yes. And Missy said, yeah, love her channel. Yeah, Ethany's channel is great. Well, what's nice is, you know, with the school, you can get Cobra insurance, or continue your insurance through Cobra, and you can do that for up to a year. So like I could keep my teacher benefits for up to a year, but you know, Ethany was like, you know, in the reading, you need to make sure that you have this, you're locked down on your finances, you're saving and things like that. And I do have enough money saved away that if I didn't work for 7 months, I could continue to live my current lifestyle with my bills and everything for 7 months. And she said, pay down your debts, which I don't have any debts. Like I don't have a car payment or anything. My bills are like my cell phone, a car insurance, mortgage. Cobra is expensive though, yes, because I remember being on that when I was getting off my father's insurance when I was in college, you know, because I had now aged out. I Mrs. Wow, your heart was skipping a beat on the 5th beat. Oh, you know, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so, oh, hold on, my picture froze. I hope you guys aren't seeing a frozen picture. Let me see what's going on. Maybe I can pull up my Wi-Fi. Okay, hopefully that'll fix things. If not, I will sign off and then yeah, nice shot, right? Okay, I might have to sign off, you guys, and then I'm gonna re-sign back on. Hopefully. Let's see. But I can still see what you guys are saying. All right. Okay, I'm signing off. I will sign back on. Give me just a moment.